Story number 3. Who will end up paying? Now, this story goes in many different directions. It goes from right to left, just like any other story that will make it to the Mediator, but it shines light on the free debate. So the thing is that usually when something is unaccounted for, somebody else usually ends up having to pay for it. It's no different from a child being left alone. Somebody usually, if the child starts to crying, somebody has to take care or comfort the child to get the child to stop crying. So it's pretty much the same way with money. Usually, something costs. If somebody doesn't pay for it, eventually somebody will end up having to pay for it. So Bessie DeVos is talking about the student loan forgiveness program, and some people say that there's some flaws in it. Now, let me tell you how this plan works. If you have a public job, or they have income payment plans, they even have refinancing programs when it comes to education, and all this does is just pretty much try to minimize or eliminate as your possibilities of having to pay your debt. Now, the scariest part about this is it's all federally financed. Some of them were private loans. So either way, you're going to face a different route. Now, if you go through the if you try to get the federals refinanced, there's usually different stipulations, different guidelines, maybe a higher interest rate. If you go through the private loans and you try to get those refinanced, you may have a lower interest rate. The payments may be less. But the thing is, you still have to pay this money back. There's no way out of it. So some people are trying to dodge this bullet. They've even talked about, I see some articles about free colleges and how they were talking, and they did research on how these colleges were able to get free, how they were able to make their services free. And I think there was one college said that they had, I think it was an endowment that tripled over the years. These are colleges that have probably been in business for over 50 years or more, and they were able to fund about 1,500 students. These are students that had free college. But the difference is that when you're looking at colleges that have over 5,000 students, these 5,000 students need resources, they need books, they need professors, they need people on that work, so they can't possibly make anything free. And you see this story constantly making it, and the thing is that somebody will end up paying if they're not given a scholarship or given some type of advance. You see this happening in the arena of college, and not even just college, but it's even happening with hospitals. There was a story that made it in at I think this story also made it into one of the other stories. It was how Trump wants insurers and hospitals to show their real prices to their patients. Now, the thing about money and the thing about bills is that this may prevent some people from wanting to either go to the hospital or wanting to go to college, because they may feel like, hey, I don't have the money, I'm not going to. But there's a positive side of this, is that you're investing in yourself. And one thing that they're learning about healthcare is that people spend money on things that they rarely need rather than their own health. Some people just don't trust doctors, period. Some people get surgeries that they feel like they shouldn't have had. Some people don't do enough research. Some people end up taking medicines that they do not have to take. And many doctors will tell you surgery shouldn't be your last resort. Another story that made it in: Austin City Council to vote on turning hotels into homes for the homeless. Now, you can even look at the homeless situation. Eventually, somebody will have to pay. You can put a person out on the street, but eventually, either a church or some nonprofit foundation will end up having to take this person in. You could have a person who steals or is on drugs in your house. You could kick this person out. Eventually, this person will end up in somebody's care. So you're starting to see how this, what they call a push and pull effect, or how karma works in some faith. Americans now have a record 14 trillion in debt. So that lets you know that the financial aspect of people's lives still needs to be addressed, and some people still. I remember years ago when I had to file some paperwork with my own financial situation. I had to go through all these counseling programs and interest rates, it can get very scary when you have to take on debt, and when other people don't understand finances, when you have people living with you, or can't find a job. Some of them may be handicapped, some of them may be disabled, and they have nowhere to go. That's why story number 3 crept its way into the top 8, because it homes in on that simple fact. Powell says that the U.S. debt may be on an unstable path, basically crippling the ability to respond to recession. So you can see this is they're talking about the clamps because of the amount of debt that the U.S. has. They're saying that this may be putting the clamps on how much leg room we can actually operate in. So you can see now you're starting to get the vision of how important story number 3 is. Who will end up paying? We've seen this president, even with the Trump administration, lashing out at other countries and saying that people have to start paying up. But you'll probably see analysts dissecting this a little bit more. We've seen them do it, but they may be going at this a little bit more. How much debt do people actually have, and how can they pay off this debt? How can the banks work with them? How can the government help out the banks with this, helping people pay down their debt? In all actuality, this will benefit the economy. It will benefit the United States if people did learn how to manage their money or could pay down their debt. Attacks by homeless on the rise in California. Advocates say local leaders are to blame. Homelessness amongst veterans, this is a good news, dropped slightly as of January of this year, according to the White House. So it's showing you that even with veterans fighting on the battlefield, having to help the U.S. cause and fighting for your freedom, somebody eventually will either have to fight, somebody will eventually have to help out. That's why story number 3 crept its way in, because no matter how long you dibble and dabble, try to cheat the system, eventually somebody will have to pay. You could be a drug dealer your whole life, you could be a thief, and you could be taking, and that lets you wonder why there's no businesses inside that certain communities, why there's just cheap stores, or why there's no family-owned businesses. Story number 3 gives you that ability to think. Eventually somebody will have to pay. You could even be the most brutalist person in life, making some of the hardest decisions in your clique, and punishing your enemies severely. But eventually that person will grow up, and somebody will have to pay for that punishment that you put on that person. That's why story number 3 is here to stay, and why it may gain some steam in the coming weeks. You're the Mediator of me, Brian West, where it is my duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories, trying to keep you informed, keep you up to speed on what's going on. If you want to be a contributor, it doesn't take much. I just stay in the middle, navigating the news just for you. The media, the journalists, the people on the front lines, they deserve most of the credit. I just look at the news stories for what they are, keep you informed. You may have a report, you may be in class, you may have a radio program, your own blog. This may be the spot for you to figure out what's happening, what to talk about, and what stories are most beneficial. So if you want to be a contributor, be a part of the Mediator. It doesn't take much, or be a part of Method 8. If you want to contribute, help out, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method88.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Every little bit counts. Once again, if you want to check out the website, be a contributor, help us out in any way, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method88.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Every little bit counts.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.